All right, welcome everybody to our first Curious About of 2023-2024. This session is going to be all about microlearning, so we're very excited to tell you guys a little bit about it today. Shout out to our team, some of whom are in the room, most of who are in the room. We have Alicia Gallegos Butters, Director of EdTech at SDCOE. I'm Jessica Sierra. I'm a resource teacher with EdTech. We also have Carrie in the room, and I think that's it. But Pamela and Chris are also part of our team. We have our links to our website and our Curious About playlist if you guys want to follow up with the stuff we've already done, and our calendar for the future. A couple things we have going on right away. We have our Ready to Go series next week, about a week from today, actually. We also have our Back to Basics series. We have an AR posters workshop coming up on a Saturday, September 30th. And then we also have esports coaching clinics. We have a couple different options for you guys. So if you're interested in esports and prepping anyone in your district to be a coach, you can click on that link and see what dates we have available. All right, and I think I'll turn it over to you, Alicia.
Yes. So with our Curious series, one thing that we love about it is that we are never the experts on the topic, and it's usually something that we're kind of wondering about. It's something that we've heard a lot about, and we want to explore it a little more. And so that is how we got into this Curious About. So today we're going to talk about micro learning. It's something that has been around for a while, but it's really taking off in the past few years. So today we're going to define it. We're going to talk about why it's important to ed tech, the benefits of it, some of the challenges, who uses it, and why and the uses for K-12. So as always with our meetings, if our norms are, if you have a question, we're usually a small group. So please feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question, or go ahead and put it in the chat because we're monitoring both areas. Before we start, any questions? All right. Oh, Jessica, can you move on? Slides. Awesome. So what is micro learning? So I've put together, or I found a video that I think it can explain it a little better than I can. So Jessica, if you could get that, there should be a link for it. You click on it, and it should be in the notes.
And I apologize, I did the rookie move of sharing without access to sound. So let me switch that real quick.
Oh, you know what? I think I could pull it up. Let me go ahead and I'll share my screen. And I will put it up. Give me 1 second. And hold on, let me share my screen. Okay, can everybody see my screen? Thumb up if you can. Okay, I'm gonna make that large, and I'm gonna go ahead and.
Hi.
Is there somebody who can't see it?
Your parents are driving you to the airport and you're arguing over the specifics of a recent bill. You pick up your phone to settle the dispute with a quick Google search before jetting off to your friend's wedding in Rome. Once you land, you use an iPhone app to learn how to say more pasta and double espresso, please, in Italian. Before the wedding, you need to tie your bow tie, but you don't know how. So you fire up a quick YouTube tutorial on your laptop. What do these three things have in common? They're all examples of microlearning. Microlearning breaks material down into short, easily digestible components that tackle a single learning objective. Microlearning makes it easier for learners to retain the information they need, and it has powerful applications in today's workforce. Read more to learn more about microlearning and its key benefits.
So with that said,
It's everything you wish for. Your site
Hold
traffic
on.
is skyrocketing
oh my goodness.
until this happens. Be careful what you wish for. Build your site on a platform that's engineered for success. So if traffic spikes, instead of overloading your servers, your site infrastructure scales to handle it.
Excuse me, sorry. I have to
Backed up
find
by
out what
tens of
window that
thousands
was
of
in.
users worldwide, maintaining 99.98% uptime. Wix.
There it is. Okay. Can everybody hear me? Let me go back.
If you're a college
Okay.
student, keep watching. One of my least favorite things.
All right, sorry about that. Okay, so with that said, microlearning is all about breaking down learning into smaller components so that you can learn them better. And how many of us have experienced that scenario that they just talked about? Maybe we're driving someplace and we need to find directions. What do? We check out Google Maps. If we need to learn how to do something, we check that out and we go ahead and just learn the little bits and pieces of it. Jessica, do you want me to share my slides?
I can put them up again.
Okay. So I have some examples of microlearning for you. So the first one is Duolingo. How many of you have used Duolingo in the past? That is a very great example of microlearning. What it does is it breaks things up into small bits and pieces for you to gather that information and learn that. The other one that I love is this is a YouTube one, and it's teaching my child to ride a bike. And I was thinking about this because my kids are older, and I had one daughter who really struggled with riding a bike when she was little. And so, or actually this is a TikTok. And so TikTok is a great example of micro learning. So I'll just show this to you really quickly as an example. Are you able to access it? Jessica? She may not be because it's attached to mine. Oh, there it is. Okay. So basically what he's doing is he's teaching his son how to ride the bike by holding up a towel. And that is an example, a really great example of micro learning. And so it's teaching a parent how to teach your child how to ride a bike. So that's one example. The other, like I said, is Duolingo. This one right here I put on, and this one is TikTok, and it's an oven that's not working. And how many of us have had an appliance or a car that hasn't worked, and we check it out on YouTube and try to figure out how that works? And the reason why I have this particular one, because if you came to my house, you would see my oven is on my kitchen floor because my husband is using YouTube to learn how to fix it. And so this reminded me of that. My husband is the king of micro learning. So those are just some examples of micro learning and how it has really taken off in the past couple years. So Jessica?
Yeah, so some of the benefits of micro learning are obviously that it's quick. The micro part of it, it's usually just a few minutes, or like 10 to 15 minutes at the most. It's very focused, so it's on one topic. It's personalized, or it can be personalized for that just-in-time learning. Like Alicia said, why would you look up fixing your oven unless you really needed an oven fixed? So it's just-in-time learning. It could be standalone, or it could be a series of micro learning bits that are bundled into a larger sequential learning. And then our technology has really benefited microlearning because now it's mobile. So you could get it on your phone, you could get it on an iPad, a laptop as you're traveling around, but you can access microlearning anywhere you are. Another more scientific slide for benefits of microlearning, there's actually this sort of phenomenon called Ebbinghaus forgetting curve, and it was noticed first in like the 1800s, but they've repeated the studies over time. I think most recently in about 2016, and it's been consistent that if people learn one thing one time, there's a very high drop in what they can retain. So you can see from this curve on the left, a month out, they remember only 20% of what they learned in that one session. Whereas with microlearning, you can revisit the learning over and over because it's quick. You get it the time you need it. And so in 2016, they replicated the Ebbinghaus forgetting curve and proved that it's still a thing. And then they also compared that to a group doing the same lesson, but over microlearning, where they repeated the lesson over time. And you can see by the 5th repetition, it's almost 100% ingrained in the participants. So there's definitely some science behind the fact that people can retain knowledge better with microlearning. Challenges are that it might be too focused. It's the whole idea of not being able to see the forest through the trees. If you're just focused on one thing, you might be missing the bigger picture. Depends on the comprehensiveness of what program you're working within. It is low commitment. It's harder to track. So if you're an administrator or if you're a teacher doing this with your students, you might have to have some systems in place so you can track what the students are learning and if they're completing the microlearning. There's a risk of fragmented learning. So if you're not building out a robust program, they might be missing pieces here and there. And then of course, the preparation in the beginning, there might be more to that, getting the system set up. But then once you have those microlearning lessons, it's easy for everyone to access. So a little bit more work at onset. And Alicia, I think this one was you.
So we wanted to talk about who uses microlearning, and I just submitted something, sorry. So a lot of people are using microlearning in their everyday lives, but we as teachers are using it a lot. So when we do our little mini lessons with students, I know when I was a teacher, I used to do microlearning as part of my preparatory set. So as I would get students going, I would have a little lesson. Sometimes it would be to ground them, maybe something tactile, something very multi-modality, using different modalities where if we were going to be doing a compare and contrast essay, one of the things that I used to do was I would have 2 items and I'd ask my students just to talk through what those two, the difference between X and Y would be. I did it once with cookies to start as a little quick micro lesson so they could just kind of dissect and look at the differences. So it's something that teachers use. It's something that parents use. Like I gave that example of teaching somebody how to ride a bike. Or I know that a lot of parents, there's somebody in our office and he's having a hard time with his little one getting to sleep. And so he was doing these videos to learn how to get his baby to sleep all night. And so he was doing those in micro learning, just maybe little 2 to 3 minute videos to get some ideas. Homeowners do micro learning. My husband fondly calls YouTube the University of YouTube. And he can fix anything by watching YouTube. And so I know that he's not alone in that micro learning, but it has been for me as an educator really fascinating to watch. And how many of you out there feel that you have used some of those tools out there, either TikTok, YouTube, you look something up, maybe Google Maps in your micro learning? I see a lot of you, yeah, that you do. It's very, very common. So businesses are starting to use microlearning as well. So a lot of businesses will have different modules for teaching someone. And the beauty of educational technology or technology is that's making it easier to do. So let's say you're a business and you want to teach people how to sign a PDF. I know that how many of us have gotten that at SDCOE, learning how to sign that PDF. And so one of the ways they could do that is just send a little video out with that. This is what you click on. This is what you do. So that is a quick micro learning, how businesses have used it. Maybe your district uses it on, they have a new way to communicate with parents. Maybe Peach Jar is being rolled out at your school, and there's a new tool, there's a new button that you have to click in Peach Jar. So they might send that out, just a real quick snippet on that. So also it's very becoming very popular with the onset of doctors using it, with teaching people how to administer medication, or if there's going to be some physical therapy, they'll just send out a little video of what you need to do. So again, it is being used throughout industry, and it's showing that almost 100%, it's about 95% of people prefer learning in little micro learning components rather than big chunks. And as Jessica showed you earlier, that people learn better when they are given smaller chunks to learn. And there was something in the chat, so let me just check on that really quickly. Yeah, so some people, when my doctors don't speak clearly, I just go to YouTube to watch their continued education. Very true. A lot of times we all do that. One of the things I'm super guilty of, if I'm watching a movie and there's any indication that it might be like a true story, I will go down a micro learning path to learn something about the person that they brought up. And so I want to learn, then I go back to my movie. So it's something that it's almost innate in us as people. Jessica?
Yes. Okay. So talking about the TK to 12 classroom, some ways that teachers are using microlearning are to reinforce concepts that they've gone to more in depth. So the idea of just that repeated learning, either with videos that they find. Infographics are also considered microlearning. So it doesn't have to be a video, even though that's typically, where your brain goes when we're talking about snippets of learning. Infographics and job aids, also microlearning. Slideshows that you make available, anything that's reinforcing those previously taught concepts that kids can access when they need it and learn really quickly. The flipped classroom. So some schools are doing flipped learning, blended learning, where you're expecting the students to come in with some kind of knowledge and then do some workshopping in class. So micro learning lessons can definitely help prepare students for when they come to do the in-person piece with you, but also centers. So a lot of people, you might already be doing micro learning when you're doing centers with your kids and having 10-minute sessions at each little table or each little station. That could be considered micro learning as well. Some ways that one way that I've used microlearning in my teaching is we used to do, when I was in the classroom, like 20% time projects. So a student would have something that they'd be working on, like when I taught English, that was kind of flexible. There was like a rubric of certain product I wanted to see, but the topic could be whatever they wanted. And at first I'm like, how am I going to do this if I let every kid choose their own topic? I can't teach 20 different topics, 30 different topics. So Khan Academy was huge for me, and just curating like smaller pieces of information where they could learn a topic on their own really quickly and then build out their own project with it. And then something I'm really excited to see is student created microlearning. So now with TikTok or things like Flip that are a little more academic in nature, you could have students create their own 1-minute videos about a topic that they've learned. So you get that real authentic assessment in a way that, some of them might be kind of used to making videos. So put an academic spin on that and get them creating videos and infographics to demonstrate their understanding. Bonus there is if you can collect all of those, if it's around a topic you do every year, then you could host those somewhere and make that an available resource for your next class that's coming in to learn from their peers in a micro learning fashion. Also for the professionals, so you as a teacher, or if there's admin in the room, instead of doing like lengthy PD, you could create self-paced shorter micro lessons, or maybe your district has things like that already available that you can point your teachers in that direction. You could allow your teachers or yourself to select topics based on your needs or on specific like LCAP goals or site goals. And it's also really useful for those kind of daily workflow tasks. So things like learning a new student information system or learning a new LMS, having those like job aids, those infographics, really short videos that teachers could turn to if they just need to figure out, how do I input a grade here? Or how do I add some comments to this in this this new system? Having those micro learning pieces so that teachers don't have to watch hour-long trainings on these platforms. They can go to exactly what they need and access it right when they need it so they can learn, do their thing, and move on. Oh. All right, and this might be the most micro learning curious about of them all, because that brings us to the end. Any questions? Any comments? Does anyone want to share micro learning that they've done or participated in?
I would share at Cuyamaca College, they're really using the micro learning for the professors to get skills in real specific things, like with Canvas, like a real specific thing on Canvas, or Teams, things like that. And they let you put it like flex time, or you put it in for just that one micro learning session on that one thing. They count time for all of it. So.
Very cool. Thank you, Angela.
And yes, Shannon, the deck will be emailed to you. Yes, Elmer.
Yeah, it's an example I had personally was with Kaiser when I had my knee surgeries done. It'd send me emails and then links to videos that I had to watch, the procedure itself, prep time, how to prep my knee for the operation. Also for physical therapy, they had a new app I could go on, and then I can try all these different exercises before I even meet with my physical therapist. So it's pretty cool. Those were some of the personal examples I had with my micro learning.
Yeah, thanks. I actually didn't even think about this till you shared, but what the last time I was pregnant with the baby you probably hear in the background, they sent me like every month, like something about like, these are the things you can expect, or these are things to watch out for. And so that was really nice and like really timely. It wasn't like, this is what to watch for your entire pregnancy. It was very like at the moment I needed it. So interesting.
Yeah, I love that, Michelle. She's talking about, she just created a micro learning on how to convert a Google Doc to a PDF for the class. I love that. One thing that Jessica just created in micro learning, and it was for JCCS parents, our juvenile court and community school parents, is that a lot of them don't have computers. They use maybe their phones for interaction, and they needed to learn how to access Zoom on their phone. So Jessica created a series of very short videos that the parents could watch and learn how to access Zoom. So it's those little things that I think we do all the time as educators, but then they're also in our lives every day that are micro learning. I'm curious if any of you want to share how you've used micro learning in your class with your students. Stephen, and just unmute yourself.
Yeah, you brought up Canva as a graphic tool, and I know I haven't used the movie trailers on Canva, but in the past I've used the iMovie movie trailers for my students, and it's just a really exciting thing to do. Very short time period. The movie trailers, maybe they're like a minute or minute and a half long, and you can condense a lot of material and make it just really exciting and fun.
I love it. Thank you. I'll have to try that. And I see that Tanya says she uses the video feedback on assignment, showing how to do a math problem as they teach virtually. Awesome. I love that. It's nice that you're able to give that little lesson to students. It takes a couple minutes. It's very quick. And it's so powerful in a way that just circling something and saying it's wrong isn't powerful, and being able to give those videos. Elmer, is your hand raised from before? Is it still, or did you have something else? No.
Yeah, I had something else
Oh.
to share.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We used the Edpuzzle, having our students select like videos to support one of their theses or papers they were reporting on. So they did the written part, but they backed it up with a visual. So we gave them Edpuzzle, and they got on that and started selecting videos that backed up a lot of their observations in their writing. So it was pretty cool. And then we also use Newsela. So they got the context articles plus a video to back up what they were learning. So it was pretty cool.
That's awesome. And for those of you that have Canvas at your school, you can now use Edpuzzle and Canvas. Is that correct, Carrie?
Yes, so Edpuzzle integrates into Canvas, and additionally with Canvas, if you're doing micro-credentials, if you're doing micro-learning, you can even use Badger, which integrates and do like little micro-credential badges as you go through different content. So as students do little lessons, they can get little micro-credential badges with that too.
I love that. Jim?
I started doing something last year. I found out that through the school district, we're eligible to have a YouTube channel. And so I set up some playlists for my classes with short little videos, basically of each lesson that I do, because I'm an independent study school. I have one class a week with my courses, and the students are working at home, or if they're traveling or away, they're able to go and watch whatever I teach in a short 10, 20, some of them a little longer, but 10, 20 minute, 25-minute video about whatever I did in class. And it's basically the actual teaching I did. So I guess that I hadn't thought of call it micro learning, but I guess it really is, because it's short little vignettes, especially about it. And quite a few students have used it either if they're not in class or to go back and look at it later, because, you know, it's like they listen in class, they think they understand it, or they're distracted and didn't really get it. And then at home, they can see this and understand it better as they're trying to do the work. So that's worked out really well, especially because whenever anybody says, what did I miss in class? I just point them to, I also have scanned papers of my notes, but they can go and look at that. And it's no big deal if they've missed class if they're ill or something like that. That's helped a lot. And I have probably at this point, 90+% of all my lessons now up on YouTube in short little videos for all my integrated and pre-calc classes.
I love that, Jim.
helpful.
I remember the days when school districts were banning YouTube, and now look how great it is. It allows us to do that type of micro learning where none of our students are left behind, so they can always check on those. Hope Yamada stated that when she was interviewing for her position, she was asked to do a micro learning lesson and in clearing cache. So again, I think we're going to see it more often. And as far as equity, it's important that we teach our students how to do that and how to create these micro lessons for when they go out and apply for jobs. They understand what that means. Any questions about micro learning? Oh, yes, Andrea?
Hello. Is there any best practice about like how long a flipped lesson could be if it's going to be that format, like 15 minutes, 5, 10, something like that?
So 15 minutes is too long. And when we were looking for videos on micro learning, we were looking, so one of the best and oldest forms of video micro learning out there is Sesame Street. So Sesame Street does amazing micro learning. And if you think about, you know, they teach numbers and letters and how to share and how to clean and how to be a good neighbor and all of that. And they usually try to keep them at about no more than 3 minutes, because you want to think about that people have, they don't have that long of time, like an interest. So the shorter, the better. I actually like things that show me, I don't want to sit through a 15-minute video. I want to sit through about a 1 to 2 minute video to learn how to do something that will teach me how to do this chunk. And then I'll learn how to do another chunk, and then I'll learn how to do. And that's one of the beauties of micro learning, is it takes information and it chunks it into different areas, and then you can put it together and watch as you need. Jessica, what's your insight on that?
Well, I was just going to say on the Sesame Street, another big key with Sesame Street is that everything is based around like a theme, everything in the episode. So even though it's like 3-minute snippets or 3-minute like little skits, all of it is sending the same message, like with different ways. So using Flip, you could like curate, you know, a collection of flips that, like Alicia said, are like 3 minutes or less, but each one kind of expanding on the other, or saying the same, sending the same kind of message in different ways. But yeah, one cool thing about Flip is that you could have like that collection of different ones.
And so Shannon asked, what do we like to use? We've used Flipgrid. We sometimes will record ourselves using just Zoom and record ourselves. Carrie's really opened our eyes to using Canva or Canvas as a micro learning tool. I personally like Canva. I'm the queen of job aids, so I love a job aid. I'm old school like that. So YouTube is great. As Jim had said, that he was able to do a lot of his classes on YouTube. So I think it's what you feel comfortable from. And micro learning doesn't always have to be tech. It could be, like I said, you create a nice job aid on Google Draw and you give that to the students. So it doesn't always have to be some high tech thing. Elmer?
Yeah, we were playing with vocabulary again. That's a prime example of, I guess, the older types of micro learning, when we hook students on music, then apply it to like a rap, and then they'd apply it to a content area and make their own rap, or we'd even have them rewrite the rap. So it was pretty cool. We'd break down little small chunks, like you said, and then they'd break it up even further to verses, and then have a theme, like someone mentioned that there'd be a theme like Sesame Street. So it was pretty powerful learning. We enjoyed it. The kids loved it. I was hoping our district would purchase vocabulary again, because I think now they're charging for the licenses. It's not free anymore.
I think they are. Okay, any other questions? I love when we are able to have this kind of conversation afterwards. Well, we will be sending this recording. It will be out on our I believe we put it on our YouTube, and then it's linked on our SDCOE EdTech website as well. So all of you will have access to that, and we will also be sending out the slides. So our next, if you have suggestions for our next Curious About, we don't put out the calendar for the topics of Curious About, because we wait to see what we're curious about each month. So if you have something that you are interested in, that you're curious about, and you would like for us to do the research and bring it to you, please let us know, and we would love to explore some of the things that you're interested in out there. So thank you very much.
Thanks for coming. See you guys next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. That was very informative. Appreciate it. Bye.
Oh, Pam joined us. Hey, Pam.
It's okay.
Sorry, Siri's talking to me, telling me it's okay.
Everything's gonna